As a young person myself, it's not comfortable to hear what I'm about to say.
No, please go ahead. That's why we are here, to learn the very uncomfortable things.
Number one, learn to eat shit with fork and knife. Yes, because early in your career, you will have to deal with very many unpalatable circumstances. The truth is, the price of gold is learning to dig.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you're your first visitor, well, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Emmanuel Faith, and this is another episode of Career Conversations. Career Conversations is a section of my video where I talk with professionals, where they tell us what they do, how they do what they do, and how we can do what they do. Today I have a good-looking, handsome, well-versed, well-dressed, well-traveled gentleman with me. His name is Yinka Seth, and there are a lot of things to admire about Yinka, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I said we'll not start swelling. Hi, Yinka.
Hello. How do you do?
I am stressed, actually.
Who stressed you?
Lagos. Tinubu. T-Pain. But yeah, welcome, Yinka. How are you today? Introduce yourself to my guest.
For the sake of this podcast, my name is Yinka Seth. My LinkedIn name is different, but we separate work and life. So yeah, Yinka Seth.
That's a lesson, guys. Separate your work and your life.
Yeah,
Don't make your work. And tell us who you are, what you do, if you are single, if you are searching.
I'm tempted to go on my knees. I'm Yinka. I'm single like mad. I am struck with the affliction of singleness. I am desperate for a relationship at the year end, but that's a joke. I am an international development professional working in philanthropy at the moment. And when I'm not working, I like to gist with my friends, like this boy here.
Yeah, I'm honored to be his friend, guys. And today we are literally gisting. We'll discuss a lot of things, a lot of exciting things. And a good place to start is probably what's one random thing. I know that your life is sort of an open book. For those that know, if you know, you know. But what's one random thing that people might not know about you?
Random thing is that I'm sort of a kind of a dropout.
It's a lie.
For real?
No, that is the most random.
There you go. So I kind of started my master's around 2019, but have I finished? Will I finish? Find out in the next episode.
We need to talk about that. That's great. Okay, I think that I did my research. As I've been your friend, I did my research, and I think that you've had a fascinating career. And before we take a deep dive into career, what's one random happenstance, circumstance that I thought propelled or shifted your career in a way?
I would say it's what made me start my career in the first place. So, I mean, Einstein, I'm like the Einstein's type, wear glasses, beard, and all that. And so I wanted a career in medicine, but I pivoted into microbiology because they did not give me medicine.
Okay.
Right. And then, I just thought I would have a good career doing a PhD, research, standard stuff. And then I met someone who had HIV.
Oh.
And it changed my life because I was like, how does someone get HIV? I mean, I know the answer. Like, why do people discriminate against this person? It didn't make any sense. So I realized there's a lot of issues with the way that health information is spread, how people come into the world, how people access healthcare. And I was just fundamentally dissatisfied by the entire thing. And made me want to have a career that involves helping people. And that's kind of how I got into the space.
That's so
We don't even talk anymore, by the way.
That's interesting. I mean, I hope that maybe you forward this to her and say, I talked about you
Both
today.
of you to assume and say her.
Oh, well.
You can't make assumptions. See, I work in development.
Yeah, please, we are learning lessons. I hope you forward this to them.
Great. Talking.
Yeah, that's super inspiring. And actually, that's one of the things. If you're interested in international development, as an HR manager who manages global talent, that's a very important thing that I just pointed out. You don't assume people's pronoun on their behalf.
It's hard, sir.
Great. It's hard, right? Something like just kept remember. I'm not going to say it. So let's talk about international development. Guys, by the way, I have an interesting gist for you. You know that, and this is me giving you your flowers, right on my show. Do you know that the idea of, if you watch my old YouTube channel, old YouTube videos, you will see that I talk about HR, career, CV, cover letter, LinkedIn. The idea of actually bringing professionals on board was birthed by this handsome man here.
Wow.
Yeah, he had made a post. I don't know if he made a post or he left a comment. He said, was it a post or a comment? He said something like, all of us, we just have friends in different places with fancy titles. We don't know what they do professionally.
I remember that.
You remember, right? And then I picked them, like, that's true. And then if you check you guys watched the episode with from Kelawal. I don't know I don't know what Ifunke does. And see this gentleman, I don't know what he does. I just know that he has a job title,
You're about to
right?
find out.
So, talking of finding out, what do you do every day as someone who works in international development? As a program manager, specifically.
That question will get us a bit. Because the truth is, fundamentally, everyday job is not sexy. What you get to do every day is pretty boring. So standard stuff, it involves for me a whole lot of meetings. Like, you know, people complain about this meeting could have been an email. My life can be an email. So yeah, that's just to meet people, understand what they need and how you can serve them. Like, you know, a ton of writing to convince people because money is hard to make, and telling people how to give it is even harder. So generating the evidence required to make people shift the way they use their hard-earned resources. Yeah, pretty much the everyday stuff. That and being mid-air half the time.
Actually, yes, it travels a lot, and we will get there in a minute. So I know that you work in a unique part of international development, and whatever I think that the title of this video is going to be how to get to international development. So I know that there are different aspects. For example, I used to have a good friend who worked in civic space, and I realized that was also a crucial part of international development. So can you maybe enumerate maybe 2 or 3, 4 major spaces? International development, and if I'm looking to get into the career, because that's also one of the goals of this, what aspect should I be looking at?
Broadly speaking, well, international development from my own perspective, so there's the part that involves, I would say, the demand side and the
I like
supply
that,
side.
yeah.
So in terms of the demand side is what people typically would need that you can supply. And when it comes to develop, so there's a side of people that people need healthcare, people need things like, you know, access to justice. And so there's people who do
Yeah, oh my
social
God.
impact
Yes,
on
like
NGOs.
e.g. innovative justice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
there are those interventions that directly affect people. There are people who interfere from a policy space. Say those guys who work in the World Bank. They are not going to meet anybody, but you know their work involves shaping the policy around how nations develop. Then there's the supply side, which means like where the money comes out of, because we want development. But
Okay.
how does development happen, right? So those are around likes of philanthropy, around what have you. Yeah, so that kind of stuff, broadly speaking. Yeah.
Great. So you had said in your intro that you studied microbiology. I've spoken with a lot of people who do courses like law and international development, international relations, for instance. Does my course of study matter? And is it an advantage? Two ways. If I study law and international relations, for instance, does that mean that I have to have a career in international development? Then 2, if I do not study something related, I study zoology, but I want to get into international development, what do I need to be doing?
So my actual answer to that would be, fundamentally, it doesn't actually matter. And that's one of the reasons why I chose international development, because I say this carefully, I know this Sabi book. I'm supposed to be smart, but...
Guys, is a lie. He's very brilliant. He's actually
but
a
not in the
brilliant...
academic way.
Yeah.
Right? And so that means that... So the truth is, in the areas that we intervene, anybody can do anything. And for me, the fact that it's a level playing field is very advantageous. There are some courses and some specialty fields that give you sort of an edge. But fundamentally, it doesn't really matter. Just come here with the desire to work, and pretty much works itself out eventually.
No, that's really very helpful. So I'm going to tilt away from serious questions. If it I know you're relaxed. See you.
Come on.
Yeah, tell me, because you're okay. No, don't let me jump down. What's a culture shock? I mean, we just experienced one, literally. You know, the pronoun thing. So what's a major culture shock you've experienced? Either right on your job or mid-air, as you said, or when you landed in the country.
You see, when you said mid-air, I wasn't thinking about it, but the first one I experienced mid-air was Nigerians are very embarrassing people.
Oh, guys, cover your face.
I said what I said. If you like, take it to Star Blog.
We are going to cut it out. We are going to put it.
But the truth is, Nigerians are very embarrassing people. On at least 3 flights that I've been on this year, Nigerians found a way to fight on air.
Eh?
Oh, you're sitting in my seat. Oh, you put your stuff above my cabin. It should be in the other cabin. Why? Then someone answered, "Why? Look at the way she's talking. You can tell she's a Bini woman and she has no manners." Then everybody who was Bini on the plane began to fight with the Igbo man who said it. I'm like, guys,
This
please.
didn't happen.
It legit did. So I'll say from the Nigerian part, we don't have a very good reputation. Outward looking in, I think one part that I struggle with and I still struggled with today is how much attention people pay to time in other contexts different from us. I got here about 2 hours behind recording time. Try to London. You miss your train, miss your flight, miss everything.
Actually.
So anytime I'm not in Nigeria, I'm like, guys, I can't be myself. I have to be on time. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You came 2 hours late. 2 hours. A whole 2 hours. Anyway, that's fun. That's a lot of fun. I think another question I was going to ask is, what exciting project have you worked on very recently that made you feel like, oh my God, I'm actually impacting lives, or I'm actually awesome? Which one?
There are a ton of them. One of them is not very recent, but it's very dear to my heart because of my leader experience. One was participating in the process that led to Nigeria having a mental health law.
Oh wow.
It's still not the
You
best
did
Russia,
that.
but carry shoulder
You
up.
did that.
Yeah.
That's very important, guys. I mean, we talk about it even from an HR perspective that we need to have like laws protecting like employees' rights to
And
rest.
we're at the risk of shalaying a little bit. Like,
No,
I mean,
please go ahead. That's why
you
we're
know my
here.
lived experience with, I
Yes,
struggled with
definitely.
depression and the
Yes.
entire likes. And I realized in Nigeria's law, if you attempt to kill yourself, you are going to jail, not to a psychiatric hospital.
Let me make your shalaye longer. Do you know that I discovered very recently that our labor law, Nigeria labor law, provides only 6 days for leave?
For leave. Yes.
Like
For
when I
sick leave,
discovered,
you can't.
I'm like, that's madness.
Thank you. I like that it didn't come from me.
That's madness. How do you expect? And then it's not negotiating power because what had even happened was I was helping my friend negotiate a more leave this. So I was going to go to labor law to say, according to labor
So
law,
you meant the labor law.
what more like we say in Korea.
No, it's really bad.
Yeah,
And so,
so-
I mean, getting the stance on that to shift, it is rewarding because I feel like people like me, who at that time had tried, and at least now there's better framework. Will it actually happen? That's different. Bala blue.
But at least there is
But yeah,
documentation.
exactly.
No, that's super inspiring for real. Okay, then moving on. What are I want to ask a serious question, and I'm wondering if I should ask or not. What does philanthropy involves? Like, who are the people that you take money from? Who are the people that you give money? Please, I need money, and I have friends that do exciting things that need money. What do we need to do to get money?
I'm afraid to answer the question.
No, be as
Before you say your
be
comments,
as professional.
Please connect me to this person.
No, be as professional and diplomatic as possible. Oh, just by the way, just to give you a professional shout out, I really love that. I love what you are doing with philanthropy, not exactly in the process of like giving the money out, but in just all the structure. I know that stakeholder management is a big deal. I loved the last stakeholder meeting that you had, and you wrote about it on LinkedIn.
This guy knows a lot too.
Yeah.
I'm not safe.
I thought that was very progressive. Yes, I just wanted to give you your flowers again.
Thank
Well
you
done.
very much. And I think that's one thing I like about being your friend, how supportive you are. It's not very common. I'm not supportive.
But yeah, I
But
dragged you
yeah.
here. Yeah,
So in terms of what philanthropy entails, fundamentally, I think philanthropy entails doing good, which we all know. But I think one thing I didn't realize until I began to actually work in this space is how much politics is involved.
it's money.
So I now realize people don't just give money because an idea is good. They give money because it appeals to them. They give money sometimes because it appeals to their image.
I think that you need to take that place again.
Eh?
No, I feel like it helps, even not just like philanthropy at the top level, but even for like students raising funds. I think that those are the things that people
Yeah.
need to watch out for.
So very important because sometimes when you approach someone you think has money or is a philanthropist and say, "Oh, I have this project, come and sponsor it." Why the hell should they do it? I will put your name on a banner or I will list you as sponsors.
I'm going to forward
Why
this
should I
to
give a
all
hoot?
the student organizations that you said come.
There has to be value in it for them. And I realized working with like ultra high net worth individuals is it's an image game a lot of the time. And it was an argument I was having with someone whose name I can't disclose.
Obviously.
This person does not fund work in Africa and he's of African origin.
Eh?
But he funds tertiary institutions abroad because those people are fancy, right? They have his name on on some pillar and it makes him look super important. But if you think about it in Nigerian schools, which Nigerian schools has that kind of endowment and recognizes? Everything is sponsored by TED Fund. All students give things they don't recognize. So recognizing the politics of what goes into people giving. Anyway, yeah. So that's what's the question again?
No, that's profound. The question was how does philanthropy work? And I think that what was profound about your answer was even how, even if you're not in philanthropy, like you're a student organization, you're a social club, when they're writing these grants, these proposals, I think that was very insightful.
Ultimately, money flows in the direction of value. And if you're not providing some kind of value, sorry, nothing for you.
Money flows in the direction of value. That's a punchline, guys. Great.
So do babes. But
One final, or maybe one final serious question is: what are the 3 random career advice you have just for professionals generally and people? It might not be necessarily people looking to get into international development, just like general.
as a young person myself, it's not comfortable to hear what I'm about to say. But
No,
I
please
think
go
it's
ahead.
absolutely
That's why
true.
we are here, to learn the very uncomfortable things.
Number 1, learn to eat shit with fork and knife. Yes, because early in your career, you will have to deal with very many unpalatable circumstances. The truth is, the price of gold is learning to dig. And so this new idea that we have around, I will not do these things because they are beneath me. They are beneath you, but they are not beneath you now. So you must learn to roll with the punches. And I said do that it's using a fork and knife because people don't remember the shit you ate. They remember how you ate it. Nobody remembers there are people who don't remember what company you work with, but remember what kind of person you were while you were at work. So keeping a good attitude in the face of those things is one of the things that will catapult you fast. I don't want to go into my lived experience as to why that's important.
No, you can if you want to,
It
but it's
shapes
fine
this
if you don't
career.
want to. But like I thought that was very profound, but please, I didn't want to. I wanted you to say one part again. I'm like, that's why I looked at the camera and I'm like, did you catch it? Because I caught it. But yeah.
I'm preaching at you.
Yes, you are. I like it.
Yeah, so that's one. I think the second one that will come to mind is don't do what you love. Do what the world needs. And
that one, yeah, I have to stop you to say that again. Sorry.
yeah, don't just do what you want. Do what the world needs. Because, again,
Yeah, preach.
No, because-
Preach, Pastor Yinka. Everybody say preach.
contentious, and I know
No.
lots of people look at it
That's why we're
differently.
here,
Yes.
literally. And again, remember the goal. The goal is for people to come and tell us why they do what they do. Because, like, I see you travel, I see you jump on stuff, but then we also see you sleep 6 hours in 72 hours that people do not see.
Yeah.
All they see is that you are in air like 4 times.
They see the nice
Do you remember that project that you were on coffee? Like. 1 week,
God.
but you didn't post that.
Never.
So that's why we have this conversation so that people know that
Understand what
real
goes on
work
behind the
actually
scenes.
goes on. So please feel free to.
And so that's why I said you shouldn't always, well, let me say you shouldn't always, but don't do what you love or what you think you want to do. Because sometimes we don't have a good grasp of who we are, what we are capable of. Every one of us, or I imagine a lot of us, were raised wanting to be lawyers, doctors, or
And engineers.
And we thought we loved that. But look at us doing marketing, doing things that actually meet the needs of the world,
people.
and they are just as satisfying. So in picking a career, especially if you're not already set in your ways and you're like 10 years down the line, I would say don't just do what your degree said to do. Do what the world needs. Look around you. Look at I say this very carefully, the person with the HIV around you, and let them inspire your career decisions.
No, that's right. Like it might even be that. Like look at people that need to hear about career, and sit in front of the YouTube for the camera, tell them what they need to do.
Look at you. Do what the world needs.
That's exciting. I love that. Okay, yeah. So to more relaxing stuff now. Like I said, see him, guys. is well versed and well traveled. What are the maybe top 2 or top 3 favorite cities you've been, and why are they?
I really love Cape Town.
Oh my
so
god!
beautiful and blue. Like
Wow.
this, oh my god!
I feel like we need to find one picture of him in
Cape Town is
I'm
everything
posting it.
Lagos is trying to be, but will never be.
Yeah, shades. Oh
I'm telling you, it's really lovely. The views, the people, the food. Oh, stop. The
my
wine.
god! You want to go back? I want to go back.
Second one would be. Actually, I think I have a love-hate relationship with Lagos. So I like Cape Town because it's a coastal city like Lagos, but I like London because it has the vibe of Lagos without the smell.
You really have to say that on camera. We are not going to cut it. We are going to post. All the people that said that we are beefers and Lagos do not smell. They was here.
I'm dead. You should come. Please.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. What are the top 2 meals? I don't want to say food. So I don't sound like Nigerian. Top 2 dishes, that you've experienced that left an indelible experience on your palate.
To be honest, I don't really like food. That's why it explains my size. But you're not allowed to laugh. That's body shaming.
Sorry, that's true.
Anyway, I would say I really like sushi.
Oh.
I feel like it's the strangest thing to like for me. Like,
Yeah,
finding out
people
that I
don't
like
really
sushi,
gush
the
about
rawness
it.
of it. It was a different cultural experience, so I really appreciate that. I think another thing I didn't expect to like so much, which I don't really like, but I like it. I say it carefully. I like the aesthetics of it, but not the practicalities of it. It's wine.
Why?
Wine. I have an ulcer, so every time I drink wine, it burns my stomach. But will I stop? Never. Blame it on Cape Town.
No, I have weird feelings, and you will know soon. But yeah, that's very fine. I think my second to the last question. By the way, just heads up. My last question will be for you to ask me a question, and you can ask anything. You can even ask 1 or 2. I've had 2 friends ask 2 questions. But yeah, so my last question is, Yinka, you dress well. Please, camera, focus on his dressing at this point.
I'm shy. This is not my best. But thank you.
No, you dress well. So give us random dressing tips.
The first one I would say is pay attention to texture, and I think it's something we don't do very much in this part of the world. We just wear cotton because it's easy.
Yeah, so American cotton.
Yeah.
Very light stuff.
But I say this carefully because I move with the rich.
Yeah,
You can tell that what they wear is not so much in the price of it, but in the way it appears. Their texture is different. The pattern on the jean on the suit is different. So pay attention to those little details. The second thing is pay attention to fit. Please wear what works for you, not because it's trending. I'm skinny. I can never wear certain. It would never fit me. Stop trying to fill among. Do what works for your body type. And wear brown more. I like brown like
Oh
mad.
my god. Yeah, I think that brown is one universal color that people sleep on. Like they over focus on black.
Except you are a Caucasian. Don't wear brown if you're a Caucasian. You will look washed out.
I will ensure that no Caucasian watches that part, please. Great. So my last question is for you to ask me a question.
My, I think one I'm very curious to know is what's most important to you in this phase of your life? What are you working that's most important, or are you doing that's most important to you?
Wow, I have brilliant friends and they ask me brilliant questions. So I think right now it's slightly dicey, but the most important thing right now is surprisingly women football. Yeah, African women football. And I'm not sugarcoating, so I'll tell you why. I have a friend, Michael, you've heard his name a couple times. So there was a time that I was fully depressed. I mean, that's something you can connect with.
Twins.
And throughout my depressive period, I was writing about women football. Like I did not miss my publications. I did not miss my weekly report with Fevera. I write. If you've been watching my YouTube videos, you already know that already. I write with 2 global brands, writing about African women football and Europe and all that. But I was like weekly deadline, weekly wrap. I do it on Twitter. We do weekly wrap on Fevera. Like I do it. Just the time I was job searching, I was really overwhelmed with interviews and all that. Despite the overwhelmingness, I was. In fact, sometimes Michael said like. Michael's my best friend, by the way, for those that are
Really?
watching this. Yeah.
Never had the good fortune of meeting him.
Oh
Shout out to
my
Michael, by the
god!
way.
Yeah. So Michael was like, "Faith, did you know?" So my first international. So I featured on an international platform, a podcast. I was a guest, right? And so I forwarded it to him that Michael, guess what happened? You know, I was featured on an international podcast in BBC UK, yada yada. And then, of course, he congratulated me as my friend, and he was like, "Faith, do you know that despite this depression, you're really putting on the effort in women football?" So I think that right now, in fact, I was telling someone had asked me a question that if I didn't have to think about money for the next 6 years, and if I could say anything I would be funded, what would it be? And one of the things I'd actually mentioned was a master's in football management or in sports management. So I'm telling you now.
I think it's very strange how human beings arrive at their interests. Because
Which is one of the things you also mentioned. Because
Fair enough.
how did I? Someone was asking me about women football. How did I discover? I actually moved from just being a fan, like every other person that loves as a socialer, to realizing that oh my God, there is actually a bridge, a gap between how African women football is
hey,
reported
passion is taking over my life.
and how like it's reported globally. So let me bring that to like data numbers because you know. So if BBC publishes 100 news per week, maybe like 4 or 5 gets as African representation. That's the perfect way to put it.
True.
So that's like 1 to 20. So we need more stories told about us by
That's the
us.
question. Why are you putting the job of Africa's narrative on BBC? That's why I like philanthropy. The idea that money to support development should come from, I believe, African sources rather than, outside.
I think that right now what I'm trying to build is international visibility. But I want to build it like internal out. And that's why I talked about the African Women Football Report that I worked on.
Second
Yeah,
question. Are
yeah.
you ready for it?
I mean,
This
I
one does
just-
not. I'm also very curious because sometimes education has given us a good platform to do things like, podcasts. But if you were uneducated, what do you think you'd be doing for money?
Oh my God! I'm not shady. That's like one of the top 2 hilarious questions that I've received.
For real.
If I was not educated, I think that I don't know what level of education will be required to play football. But
This is your stomach.
no. I played football till under 13 Milo Academy. I'm not serious.
really?
Yeah, and then if of course I'll not have this stomach.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I think either I'll be a footballer or I'll be a farmer. So I was one of those people that used to score 89/90 in agriculture. Yes, I planted maize, no, I didn't plant
Really?
rice. But I planted maize, I planted beans, monocotyledon, dicotyledon. Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Oh my God.
I didn't care.
Who taught you agriculture? No, so like I planted maize, planted beans, planted worowo. Shoti Jerry.
I'm sorry, no.
Oh my God, have you come sushi? Don't worry, he's going to translate that. So like I planted vegetables, planted okra. I'm trying to remember. Like I had the old maize farm. I'm not joking.
Proper farmer.
Like cobs. I planted banana, waited for like 1-2 years for it
I
to
worry
like, come
because
up.
I don't have an answer to that question. I don't know what I would do. If the work is not sexy,
Oh my God. Yes, I think I'll either play football or be a farmer. No, that was a very unique question to ask.
You don't
I like
deserve
you. I like you. Okay, great. Thank you, guys. I hope that if you've heard a lot of fancy words about international development, I hope that you know what it looks like and what it looks like to venture international development. And if you have a friend that works in international development, so I did not tell you what they do. At least now they have an idea of what they do. Is there any final word you want to share for anyone watching this?
Please like, subscribe, share with your friends.
Thank you very
That's
much.
the best I can do.
Yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, share with people. At least you don't hear the internet, blah, blah, blah. You learn the dressing part and the career advice, please.
And you learn to eat shit.
Thank you so much for coming. It was super great having you here.
Come here, bring it in.
Oh.